Good morning, YouTube. Several months ago I made a video showing my oven technique for the deep pit pork roast, and I'll post a link to that video up here in the upper right corner. So anyway, we're getting some nice weather now. So I got out here about 8 in the morning, got the fire going in the firebox here. See, probably can't see in there with all the smoke. Got the fire going, and then about 8:30 I came out and threw my pork roast on there. So you can see we're getting a pretty good smoke on that. So I go anywhere between 2 and 3 hours in the smoker, and then I'll wrap the roast up and then put it in the oven. So this time I use the Pappy's seasoning rub on the roast, which is what the grocery store used to use in their pre-packaged roasts. But then this one I'm smoking first, and that's, I guess, one advantage over the pre-packaged one, is that if you did that one, you'd have to unwrap everything, smoke it, and then re-wrap it. Where if you do it yourself, before you wrap the roast up to put it in the oven, just smoke it a few hours. I don't know if you can see the thermometer. It's been between 200 and 250. Again, I don't really worry about the temperature. I just check it every 20 or 30 minutes. If it's a little low, I throw in a little wood. If it's a little high, I let it burn down. And as far as wood, I've just got some little branches I trimmed off my cherry tree earlier this spring. And I just cut those up. So I've got some other stuff there, just some branches and whatnot that I throw in there. I throw a couple of pieces of charcoal in the firebox just to kind of keep the coals going. Okay, it's been about 2.5 hours in the smoker, and I just let the last of the wood I put in burn down. So now we're going to take it out here. So one tip I have on smoking it this way, if your pork roast has a layer of fat on it, what I do is I put the fat layer down when I smoke it, so I have the thing standing up on the edge. That way all the outer surface gets the smoke. I'm going to take it out of the smoker and bring it inside for the oven, and what I'll do is I'm going to flip the roast over and put the fat side up before I wrap it up. Yeah, so to show you here, I've got it flipped fat side up, and I'll just wrap her up here, and that's ready to go in the oven. So the only difference in my technique versus the way the grocery store used to make them, they did butcher paper, and they would do 2 layers. They'd wrap it in butcher paper and then do another layer on there. So it was already pre-wrapped, but I just use foil. Especially if you're going to do it in the smoker, you wouldn't want to use butcher paper in there. And then this way the foil also picks up some of the smoke flavor. You can see all the coloration it got on there. This is going in the oven about 7 hours, and I'll bring you back and show you what it looks like. Okay, there we go. Just took the roast out of the oven. So I had it in 225 Fahrenheit for about 7 hours after 2.5 hours in the smoker. So total time about 9.5 hours. I'm going to take a look at it here. You get quite a bit more color when you smoke it like that. You can see the top layer, all the juice comes out, and it's just literally fork tender. You don't even really need a knife to cut it. Yeah, and look at that nice smoke ring in there. Let's get a piece out. Get a nice smoke ring on the outside, and just super tender inside, juicy. And so this is just a different take on the Save Mart deep pit pork roast. You couldn't really do this with their original preparation because it was already wrapped up from the store, but here I just did a pork roast. So for this time I did use the Pappy's seasoning mix. So I applied that seasoning rub last night, let it sit overnight in the refrigerator. So I think I'm ready to eat. I've got kind of my basic setup there, some brown basmati rice, a little bit of rampini, broccoli rabe cooked in olive oil and garlic. I kind of like that with this. The broccoli rabe's got a little bit of bitterness and complements the pork really well. I just wanted to show you a little different take on the deep pit pork roast. Now, I have not tried the authentic cooked in the ground version of this, so I don't know what that tastes like. If it picks up any smoky flavor from being in a fire pit or not. You know, the other option is you could do this all in the smoker. For instance, if you had one of those automatic pellet-fed smokers with a thermostat, you could set that for 225 or 250 and let it smoke for 8 hours in the smoker. I could do that in my smoker, but I'd have to spend all day babysitting it because it's just a manually operated smoker. I just like the convenience of this. Do a couple hours in the smoker and then throw it in the oven and let it take care of it. You don't check the temperature, you don't rotate this thing, you don't baste it, you don't do anything. So I threw it in at 11 this morning and I took it out at 6 o'clock at night. But anyway, that's my take on a smoked deep pit pork roast. Yeah, if you give that a try, let me know how you like it. And as always, thanks for watching.